Okay.
Five, four, three, two, one. Hey everybody, welcome back to the BrOtaku Alliance podcast, the podcast where we talk about anime and manga and all things anime and manga related. I am Sean. That is,
My name is Reese.
yes, I'm sure you already know us by now.
Yep.
This is what episode three,
Four, three.
three. I think three. We're bad at this. I'm.
Yeah.
I think it's three. But yeah. So, Tyrese was just telling me that Chainsaw Man Part Two will be coming out. Is there a release date?
Some say it might be July, but I have to look into it. All I know is that part
Oh,
two is coming out.
that's soon. That's
Yeah,
sooner
it is.
than I thought. Yeah, I. That's interesting. I didn't think it was done, but I wasn't sure if there was going to be a part two, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because
I figured it
bec-
was gonna be.
because of the way it ended on a pretty happy note. So I was like,
Yeah.
this could this could be like the ending, and it would be fine. But at the same time,
Hmm.
there's definitely more to be explored,
Right.
and there's still a lot that hasn't been explained yet. Um, but uh, there's two anime that I'm about to start. I haven't finished Overlord yet, but there are another two that I'm probably about to start. Ranking of Kings and Spy Family. I still haven't started Spy Family yet.
That's funny. I haven't even watched Ranking of Kings yet, but I heard good things about it.
Yeah, I have too, and the premise seems interesting.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who don't know Ranking of Kings, it's about basically this world where there are a bunch of different kingdoms and they're ranked from like best to worst.
Hmm.
And the story is about a little boy who is he is I think deaf and mute,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he is a prince, so he's actually next in line for the throne of his particular kingdom. So the whole show is about him training to become not just a king, but hopefully the best king. But it's really interesting because the main character isn't particularly strong. Like, he's a little boy, he's a little kid,
Hmm.
but he's gonna be competing against literal kings.
Hmm.
And if you see him, like if you take a look at the artwork, like they make him look even younger than he actually is.
Yeah, I see.
They make him look like he's like six,
Hmm.
like he looks like a toddler. So it's pretty interesting just from the art style alone. I did watch the first like 10 minutes of episode one, and then I had to start getting ready for the other podcast. And the animation and the art looks amazing. It looks
That's what I've
really
heard.
really good. Like the
I guess.
colors look amazing.
Hmm.
It looks really really good. Like one of the better, how could I describe it? I guess more traditional style animes, because now a lot of the newer ones are mixing 3D and 2D.
Yeah.
This one looks like it's strictly 2D,
Hmm.
but the animation still looks really really good, and really really good coloring as well. Very like bright and vibrant. Sort of like early Seven Deadly Sins,
Yeah. Yeah.
but a little bit less I guess exaggerated in some of the character designs.
That's a
Like
good way to put it.
Seven Deadly Sins was like crazy. Like how obviously the women were drawn, but then also like even the dudes, they were shaped like Doritos. Like they had the widest shoulders, and
Yep.
like just no hips. Like
Hmm.
at least for something like One Piece, that's on purpose. Like they're supposed to look a little wacky, but with some like some shonen like Seven Deadly Sins, even later Dragon Ball Z, like in Dragon Ball Super, their designs are a little odd. Like they're too, but like somebody did a side by side of Vegeta in Dragon Ball Super versus the first episode that he's in Dragon Ball Z, and
Wow.
this man's neck has quadrupled in size, at least. At least, like, just the change in even just him, that one character. Bulma's pretty much the same.
Mo was,
Most of the women are pretty much the same.
yeah.
but the guys are like, it's stupid how buff they are.
Hmm.
Like it's so anatomically incorrect. It doesn't make sense. Like their muscles have muscles.
Pretty much.
But yeah, I'm about to start ranking of kings. I gotta make a trip to Barnes and Noble, man. I
Back
gotta,
up some manga.
yeah, cause I still haven't really started my collection. I did, and this was a gift. I got Did you watch Dune, the movie that just came out?
No, I haven't got around to watch it yet.
So
But I heard good.
it was good.
I heard it was good.
Yeah, it was good. What I didn't know was that Dune is actually number one. It's a remake. Um, there was another Dune movie back in I think the 80s,
Really?
like early 80s, and I saw a clip of it and it was not good. Like it was one of the first. So the whole thing about Dune is that it was one of the first like sci-fi movie or like stories in general
Okay.
with like space travel and like that kind of stuff. And it was actually most people give it the credit of like heavily inspiring most of the sci-fi stuff that came after it, like Star Trek and Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can really see some of the inspiration for Star Wars. Um, but it was actually a book. It was a novel first, and then they made it into a movie, and then that was in the 80s, and then
Yeah.
now they just made it. They just remade the movie with Zendaya and
Mm-hmm.
Timothy Chalamet and all those guys, and it was really good. But someone at my old job gave me uh, a copy of the book, but it's a graphic novel
Mm.
of the original book, and it looks really really cool. I already saw the movie, so it wasn't as much of a shocker because I already know what the story's about.
Yeah.
But it's really really good. So I really want to start. I want to start collecting more of like graphic novels and then also manga,
Yeah.
and I want to get, like I said last time, some light novels and some more like sci-fi and like fantasy novels and
Yeah.
stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because I really want to read some of the Halo novels,
I do too.
because obviously growing up playing the games, like the stories, the Halo is one of those stories that definitely should have been made into a show a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like it's a really long story. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of source material. There's a lot of different plot points and different characters and things like that that don't even show up in the games, but it's just like a really really rich and expansive story, and it sucks to hear that the show isn't that good.
That's what I was about to say. Wasn't there like a Halo show? I heard it wasn't that good either.
Yeah, I think it's still going. It's on Paramount Plus.
Oh.
And I think it's still going, but I heard it's not great.
Hmm.
Not It's not a great show, but that a lot of the like old school like Halo fans aren't really feeling it because of the way
Mm-hmm.
that they depict some of the characters. And I think Master Chief takes his mask off. Like they show the guy as the actor's face like multiple times.
What?
Like he takes his mask off a few times, and I'm just like, that's not supposed to happen.
That's not supposed to happen. In the
Yeah.
Halo games I played, Master Chief never took his fucking helmet off.
Or
For
the few times that he does, you don't see his face.
for
You don't
you
get
don't
to
see
see
his
his
yeah, you
face.
don't get to see his face.
I think twice in like all of the games they've shown him taking off his helmet, and neither time do you see his face. Like
Yeah.
it either they either purposely like shoot at an angle where it blocks his head. I'm saying shoot
Mm-hmm.
like it's a real movie. They purposely like position it where you can't see his head, or like the second the helmet comes off, the video cuts out and they
Yeah.
roll credits or whatever. But yeah, I think in the show the actor who's playing him like he takes his helmet off several times,
Wow.
which kind of ruins it
Yeah.
because the whole point of the Master Chief is that he's supposed to look like anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like he looks like whatever you imagine he looks like. Um, but we'll see. I also heard from one of my cousins who's a fan of the games that he's like, it's not that bad, and I was like, all right, well, I'll give it a shot. But I haven't started it yet. But yeah, I mean that's one of those pieces that's like there's a lot out there. There's a lot of even just fan novels. Like there's fan fiction. There's
Yeah.
actual novels. There's different games with different characters. Like there's a lot out there. And I feel
Hmm.
like even though I played all of the games, I've only really like scratched the surface of the full story. Um, so I do want to get more into that, and then also obviously reading more manga. I think uh, I definitely want to start a collection of physical manga
I already started my
because
own collection.
you did.
Yeah, most of the mangas I got right now are like Demon Slayer mangas,
Okay.
like volumes 9 to 16 I got, and then I got like
Okay.
three Chainsaw Man volumes, and
Okay.
I also have My Hero and two volumes of Kaiju number 8. Oh, and
Okay.
Spy Family.
Oh, all right. Cool. Yeah, I. It's weird because I a lot of times when it comes to like books and manga and stuff, I just want it to have it. Like
Same, yeah.
like I've got books that I've already read. Like I have multiple copies of the same book sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a like right up here I have a copy of uh Aesop's Fables. Like I have a little collection of like leather bound books
Mm-hmm.
from Barnes and Noble, like the leather bound classics.
Yep.
And I got a copy of Journey to the Center of the Earth. Already read that. I read it before I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a little like paperback pocket sized version that I read
Yeah.
and I loved it. Then I was in Barnes and Noble one day and I saw they had the leather bound copy and I was like, I'm getting that
Yep.
just to have like as part of the collection. Alice in Wonderland already read that story, but I still bought it. So I feel like when I do start buying manga, I'm probably gonna start with ones that I've already read,
Yeah.
just to reread them and to just like physically have the copy. Because
Yeah.
one somebody brought up something to me which I thought was crazy, but I also thought it was a little interesting that like she was saying how like she still buys CDs
Okay.
and records and stuff. She was like
Mm.
cuz she's kind of like me. She's kind of like paranoid. She was like, "What if one day like it's just a zombie apocalypse and the internet just shuts down? I can't get no music." And I was like, she, I was like, I feel like your priorities are a little off, but I get what you're saying.
Wow, that's something to think about.
I was like, I think most people would be more concerned with like food and shelter and
Yeah, and getting
security and
water and
stuff.
supplies.
Yeah, but she was like, even if I survive, like that's not really like that's literally just survival. If you can't even at least have music, like I want something to play music on, and like I'm gonna get some CDs, and I was like, okay. I mean,
Okay, that'd be nice.
yeah, you'll still need
I
power,
mean,
but
right? I mean, if you play music, you don't give the zombies your position and tell them where you at.
yeah, like you gotta be really comfortable to be able to
Yeah,
start playing. Like that's like I Am Legend. Like he
base
had it
for
all.
real.
Like he had it all figured out. Like he had
Mm-hmm.
his house with the security and the steel like
Yep.
covered windows and covering his scent on the doorstep and like setting the alarms. Like he had all that figured out, and
Mm-hmm.
then he put on some music. So it's like you got a ways to go before you can start being like, I'm bored. Like if there's a zombie apocalypse, you got some things to check off before you can start trying to play a CD.
For real.
Like first electricity in the to begin with, like or batteries, I guess. You
Yeah.
got to source enough of those. So yeah, but I thought that was books. Obviously, don't have that issue because
Yeah. Pretty much.
books you could read forever until they fall apart. So I started thinking about the same thing. I was like, you know what? If there ever comes a time where I do have to like abandon society or society falls apart and I can't
Mm-hmm.
read shit online, I would like to have a collection of just some shit to do,
Yeah.
like some
Yeah.
stories to read or whatever, something just to occupy my time. So I'm not just like alone and bored and going crazy.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure I'll still go crazy, but who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Some would even say I'm already crazy. That's beside the point. I just don't want to end up like Tom Hanks talking to a like basketball.
And start screaming Wilson.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he can actually talk back.
Exactly. Or if it's a basketball, it'd be Spalding. Just be like rolling down. Because I'm not gonna be anywhere near the ocean unless it is zombies. Because apparently, I've never seen a zombie swim. I
Me
don't.
neither.
They're not real, or at least they're not real yet. But in every movie, they don't swim. So
Yeah.
that's the plan. If there ever is a zombie apocalypse, I literally have a whole like plan in my head. That's like one of my worst fears.
Yeah. I think about that too. Like I'm thinking about my escape plans, like where to
Yep.
escape to. I mean, zombies can't really swim, so I was thinking about I can live on an island, a deserted island where nobody's inhabited, and I could just
Yep.
spend the rest of my days like just reading manga or like 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 your friend said, listening to music.
Yep. Cause I literally I'm like, all right, if it happens, like if I'm home, this is what I do. Cause I live in West Philly. I'm going to literally walk along the train tracks until I get to the Schuylkill River. I'm not gonna take the street because there's
Yeah.
only too many people and shit. I'm gonna walk
Mm-hmm.
along the train tracks by Girard Avenue until I get to the Schuylkill River. Then I'm gonna take one of them boats from Boathouse Row that the little college students be rowing in, and I'm gonna take that all the way to the Jersey Shore or Maryland. I guess that would be Maryland. No, Delaware. I'm tripping. To the Delaware shore. And I'm gonna steal somebody else's boat, and I'm gonna just live on that. I'll come ashore to get supplies, and that'll be it. I'll spend all of my time on the boat out in the Delaware Harbor.
Okay. That's a solid plan.
That'll be the rest of my life, and it's water the whole way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like the only time I gotta travel on land is to literally get to the Schuylkill River. That's it. Once I'm in that, I'm not coming out the water. Not until I hit the ocean. That's like a 4-day trip, and I don't care. I'm be on that canoe for 4 days.
Me.
Yep, and even if they are, come get me,
Right.
cause you gotta swim.
It's not like they can swim.
Yep. But anyway, that's my plan. Don't steal it. I don't want
I
to.
won't.
I don't want to have to kill nobody for a canoe. But I will. But I don't want to.
I mean, it's a zombie apocalypse. Every man for himself.
Exactly. And I'm sure my daughter will probably be with me, or with her mom, or they'll both be with me. I don't know, but you know, I really don't want my daughter to have to see me kill a man for a canoe. That's all I'm saying. I don't want there to have that kind of trauma. I mean, zombie apocalypse is bad enough, but like, you know, dying for boats,
Yeah.
that sticks with you.
Don't kill me for no boat.
Yeah. But anywho, speaking of apocalypses, especially zombie apocalypses, there is an anime that is terrible, but I love it. It's called High School of the Dead.
I knew you was gonna say that. I watched it too.
It's so bad.
No,
It's so bad, but it's so good.
It's so funny.
It's so bad, but it's so good.
What are-
It's. I can't even explain it. Go.
Listen, one of the scenes that got me as soon as the zombies pulled up to the school, there was this two girls that was running through the hallway. They was like, "We gonna be together,
yeah.
right? Yeah, we're besties forever." And then one of the zombies caught her. They was holding hands too. They was like, "Oh my god, help me!" It's like, "Bitch, get off me!"
He's like, "Let go of me, bitch." It's like- Yo, I love it so much. I love it so much. It's such a weird show.
It is.
It's such a weird show because it's like it's real. Like it's very real. It's realistic.
Yes, it is.
But at the same time it's so unrealistic because it's like the situations and the way that they kind of handle it are very real.
Mm-hmm.
The characters themselves are just crazy as fuck.
Yeah, especially
Like,
the
they're
chick
just-
with the fucking sword.
Oh my god, like they're just the weirdest people
Mm-hmm.
in the world. The woman with the sword, the teacher who's like kind of a nymphomaniac, like she's just so. Then there's the nerd kid who's also like a badass.
Oh yeah. He's my
because
favorite.
because he was like, you could tell he was one of those characters that was like, if this didn't happen 6 more months, maybe a year, he'd have been a school shooter. Like
For
he was
real.
like he was like nobody liked him. He was bullied. He was a nerd.
Constantly. Yep.
But that motherfucker could work a gun.
Yes, he
Like
could.
he could work. He was just picking. He was loading. Like I was like, oh my god.
Right?
He said
he
went.
made a gun from scratch. I was
Yeah,
like, what?
he went to. He said he went to the U.S. on one summer and like study or like train with guys from Blackwater. I was like,
Yep.
what?
What?
I was like, how are you getting bullied? But then I was like,
Right?
it's probably a good thing he hasn't retaliated yet, because like this is clearly like a school shooter origin
Oh yeah,
story
for
right
sure.
here.
The zombie apocalypse was literally the best thing ever
Yeah,
happened to him.
the zombie apocalypse saved everyone else from him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, they got away from the zombies. They wasn't getting away from him.
Oh
He was
no.
sniping zombie. I was like, what? And then they're in high school. That's the craziest part.
Yeah.
And some of them make like pretty good decisions, and then some just make terrible decisions. But then it's also, like I said, like it's kind of realistic because people are panicking. Like there's like people looting and just taking advantage of just there being no cops or anything.
Yeah.
So some people are just going crazy. Like the scene with the guy on the bus. I think
Oh,
he was also a teacher.
yeah.
But he was like a pedophile. Like he was like trying to take like the young girls and have them follow after him,
Yeah.
but for all the wrong reasons.
That
Like
was so fucking weird.
he only cared about himself. But it was just like you could tell like I said, it was realistic because anytime something like that happens, it always brings out sometimes like the worst in people.
For sure.
And you saw how some people were just like going crazy, and then there's some people who were, being rather heroic, and then there were other people who were just trying to fucking survive.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. And then the OVA they had.
Oh yeah, when it was on that island.
Yeah, it was like so ridiculous. It's like a zombie apocalypse, and like you're having a beach day
Right.
because they thought they got away from the zombies, but apparently there was like a tunnel
Yep.
back to the mainland. It was so crazy. It was it was the weirdest anime ever. Then the scene where the dude like shot one of the zombies and they did the slow mo of the bullet,
Oh yeah.
and it went in between the girl's boobs. It's like jiggling. She's like leaning back like it's the Matrix,
Right.
and the bullet just goes right between her boobs and then hits a zombie in the head. I was like, bro, what is this anime? It makes no sense whatsoever. High School of the Dead was one of the animes that I've watched multiple times and just
Same.
laughed. But at the same time, it makes me laugh, but it also is like the stuff of nightmares. Like it's scary as shit. Some of the situations that they get into are like terrifying. But then it's just like something happens and it's hilarious.
Yep.
It was so great. Bro, when he first sees the zombies, like when he first notices it on the roof and he goes down to get his friends and he's talking to the girl and she's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean zombies? And he's just like, bitch.
He slapped her in front of the whole class and
Slapped her in front of her
and her boyfriend.
Slapped her in front of her boyfriend. Her boyfriend was like, whoa. He was just like, what the fuck? What is happening? Slapped the shit out that girl in front of her boyfriend and everybody. Can you imagine that? Like, can you imagine being in class and somebody just comes in and snatches one of the girls out like, we gotta go right now. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on? And then he slaps her. It's like, come on, like your life's in danger. It's like, nigga, from you, like you just assaulted her in front of everybody. We all saw it.
Did nothing.
Yo, I wish it was longer. I was so mad that it ended because it wasn't over.
Yeah,
like it's clearly not over. Oh my god! And then the girl with the sword, her parents were like crazy badass too. Like her dad sacrificed. I was like, who are these people?
Right, who are these students?
It was like Dr. Stone. It was like Dr. Stone.
For real.
Like some of the things that these high school age people are doing, who don't have superpowers, who aren't like special individuals. Like they're literally just high school kids. But they're like the shit that they're doing is
Or like
It makes no
superhuman.
sense.
Hey,
Yeah.
like one of the kids, he was an archer and he had like supersonic hearing and he can hear from like a mile away. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
I'm like, Hawkeye? Like, what do you
Right?
like? What do
Hawkeye?
you mean? Oh my god! But High School of the Dead is one of those animes, and it was crazy. Is like everybody agrees. Most people agree that it's like a terrible show, but it's like people just watch it anyway, and you watch the
Yeah.
whole. You can't help but watch the whole thing
Mm-hmm.
because you want to know what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like you want to know if they're going to actually make it out or not. But that's the thing. It's like I Am Legend. Like you can't. We're not going to see them fix the whole world
Yeah,
in
we're just gonna
this.
see them like get out of the situation they're in, or get out of the like the town they're in, and move
Right.
somewhere else.
Right. But even then, it's like, by the end of it, it's like they weren't safe
They weren't.
per
Yeah,
se. So it's like I really wish it kept going.
me
And
too.
I tried to read it, and I couldn't really, it didn't really seem like there was anything else after where the anime ended. And I was like, come on, like I need more of this show.
I do
Like
too.
it was so good. It was so good, but
That
so
was a good
bad.
12 episodes.
It was, and it felt like five.
For real.
Like I was so engulfed in this show. Like late at night, I'm just sitting there on my bed watching. It's like the teacher, the female teacher is like stupid.
You're right.
Like she's the prototypical dumb blonde,
Mm-hmm.
but she's their teach. She was like their guidance counselor, I think,
I thought she was the nurse.
or nurse. Yes, you're right. Yes, she was the nurse. She was the nurse, which is great to have on your team. They got a
Right.
nurse, but
Mm-hmm.
she's like such a perv. Like she's such a weirdo, and she's so stupid. Like she's dumb. She's
Oh,
dumb, and she's like a perv.
mm-hmm.
But it's like it happens at the weirdest moments.
Yep. But she got a best friend that's like in the army or whatever. I was wondering
Right.
like if she was
Yeah.
gonna come out of nowhere and help us, but I don't know what she was doing.
Well, they showed her. They showed her. They were fighting the zombies in a different place.
Yeah.
Cuz remember they were at her apartment. They kind of
Oh
like they
yeah.
kind of like, held up in her apartment for a little while, for like a
And
night.
she had like all these fucking guns that
Yeah,
they
she had like
took.
a whole stash, like a whole safe full of guns.
Right.
And the nerd dude was like, "Holy shit!" He was
It's not
like,
like a
"This
kid
is."
in a candy store.
Yeah, he was like, "This is an M16. This is an AR-15. This is an AK-47." They were like, "How do you know all this stuff?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I trained with these for a while." And they were just like,
I was in
"Huh?"
the U.S.
They accidentally put together like an amazing team. They had a
They
close
did,
range.
yes.
They had a close range combat specialist. They had a long range combat specialist, a nurse, and then just a bunch of other, like two other kids that were just resourceful.
Yeah.
That just made
They had a
that
really
just
good
made good
team.
decisions.
Yeah.
They had a great team, and he knew how to. I think he knew how to hotwire
Yeah.
the cars, and he stole a bike. Like they had a really good team, and then they picked up the
Mm-hmm.
little girl because her
Yep.
parents died. I was like, yo, this is the way that series of events, because that all happened in like the same night in her apartment. They got into her
Oh
apartment.
yeah, yeah.
They find all the guns. The girls go take a bath, and the nurse
Mhm.
is like all over the young girl's like boobs. And like the sword chick, she's like trying to make a move on the
Oh,
guy, the main
yeah,
the main character, and he's just like, where the fuck is this coming from? And then out of nowhere, zombies just start attacking down the street, and this little
Mhm.
girl's parents die, and they go save her. And I'm just like, yo, this is the wildest 20 minutes
Right.
of anime history.
All
Like,
took place in one night.
yeah, I was like, this is amazing. Like, it just kept you on your seat, on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Yep.
But it was like an emotional roller coaster. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to take serious anymore. It's like they have the weirdest, they have the wildest, this wackiest moments,
Mhm.
and then a zombie just pops up and starts eating people.
Yep.
It's like I can't keep doing this. but give me more. But yeah, High School of the Dead was good, and it was interesting because there aren't really many animes like that. There aren't a whole lot of animes about like zombies or
yeah.
those types of apocalypses. There are some apocalypse anime, but for the most part, they're kind of like Doctor Stone, where there's like, or Promise Neverland, where it's more like a scientific issue. Like
Yeah.
people are turning to stone, or the world gets split in half, or like in Fire Force, where there's like, for whatever reason, like parts of the world are just burned or
Yeah.
uninhabitable. Like there's never really zombies, which is weird
That is
because
weird. There's always
zo-
like demons and shit like that. There's never like
yeah,
zombies.
and it's
I'm
weird
trying
because
to think.
and there are plenty of monster animes. Like we've seen vampires, we've seen
Oh yeah, for sure.
werewolves,
Yeah.
goblins, all kinds of more, I guess, traditional monsters, like movie type monsters, but not really zombies. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, are zombies not a huge part of Japanese culture? Because obviously,
Yeah.
like vampires and werewolves or
Rules are. Yeah.
shapeshifters, and like they're everywhere. They're in every
Hmm.
culture pretty much. But zombies are like sort of a. I might be wrong. I might very well be wrong. But they seem like sort of a uniquely American thing.
I would like to think so. There are a bunch of zombie related movies or like
Yeah,
shows involving zombies. I think it's just. I don't think it's that popular when it comes to anime though.
yeah. Because even like movies, I don't know. Like there have been a lot of really popular or uh, world renowned zombie movies from the U.S. But then again, there have been a lot of movies, period, that have been really popular around the world from the U.S. At one point, we
Yeah.
were kind of like one of the movie capitals of the world.
Yep.
But like zombie movies, I feel like there's just not a whole lot. Like Shaun of the Dead, obviously, is a UK movie, but
Hmm.
there's not a whole lot. I don't know. I can never really think of a whole lot of them.
I get there is like Zombieland. I don't know if you've seen that before.
But isn't Zombielands was U.S. produced?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. Zombies kind of seems like our thing,
Yeah. I think yeah.
which is weird. A weird thing to have,
That's
but
true.
whatever. But who knows? Maybe that's why zombies are one of my biggest fears.
I fear
Zombies,
zombies.
zombies in water, because it's like I'm really, the things that scare me are just overwhelming amounts of things. Like the ocean is freaky. It's just an overwhelming amount of water.
Yeah.
Like it's just too much water. Like
And it
it's
just
just
never ends.
it just never ends, sideways or down. Like it just keeps going.
Right, not to mention we never like seen what's at the bottom of the ocean. We
E-
don't know what the fuck is down there.
Exactly. And zombies are the same way. Like it's an uncountable number of just dead bodies
Hmm.
running at you. And then zombies run now. Like they used to not be able to run.
Oh my god, that's terrifying.
Like old zombies couldn't run. They were slow and they like they would like limp toward you. But the
Hmm.
new zombies, like, did you see World War Z?
Yes.
Oh my God, they're like ants,
My
but
god.
worse. Like they're like giant. It's like being attacked by giant ants.
It's for
Like
real.
they're just huge and fast, and they just pile up on each other to get over. Like you can't
Hmm.
even build a wall. They just pile up on each other to get over it. I was like,
Yeah.
how do you stop something like this? They literally had to make the world sick. They literally had to get sick so the zombies just wouldn't want to bother you. I was like, that's the only solution. Can you imagine that the solution to zombies is to give yourself cancer? I mean, like, nigga, I'll take the cancer. Fuck
I'll
it.
take it.
Throw that leukemia right over here, buddy. I'll gladly take it.
I'll take that
If
stage
it's
two right
dying
over
from
here.
cancer or getting turned into a zombie or eaten by a zombie, I'll take the cancer.
I'll
It
take
could
the
be
cancer
testicular cancer. I don't give a fuck.
right?
Like whatever. Like get me as sick as possible without killing me or kill me. Who knows? I don't. Depending on how bad it is, I might be okay with like, you know what? I go in my sleep.
Right.
Like give me some shit and let me lay down in peace.
Better than getting bitten by zombies all over the place.
Yeah, they're terrifying.
Mhm.
Zombies are more scary to me than vampires.
Yeah.
Because with the vampires, there's a slight chance that I might at least just turn into one and then at least I can live for a really long time and
Yeah.
not age. Like I wouldn't want to be a vampire, but I'd rather be a vampire than a zombie.
Right.
Oh my god. Speaking of vampires, did you see Morbius?
Not seeing Morbius, but I keep hearing people say it's Morbin time. That's all I've been hearing.
So he doesn't say that in the movie.
Like, where did that came from if he
I
doesn't say
don't
it?
I don't know. Cause it's morphin time. I feel like came from Power
Power
Rangers
Rangers.
maybe.
Yeah. Mighty Morphin
Yeah,
Rangers.
but more it's Morbin time.
Uh,
I don't know. I don't know where it came from. I don't
I
know why.
don't
I don't know
either.
how it came about, but it is hilarious. And the movie itself was hilarious. Like, and there's something like, do you watch Honest trailers?
Yeah.
So, did you see the Honest trailer for Morbius?
Mm-hmm.
So when I watched it, I already knew after I saw Morbius. I saw Morbius in theaters, by the way.
Okay.
And when I saw it, I was like, I get the impression there's a lot more that they cut out of this movie.
You think
Like,
you think so too?
there was definitely a lot more stuff that they decided to just cut out of the movie. And I knew it, I felt it leaving the theater because I was like, damn, I feel like we saw more of Tyrese in the trailers than we did in the movie.
Hmm.
But what made it even worse was when I saw the Honest trailer and I realized that in the trailer, Tyrese has a metal arm.
Yeah.
And in the movie he doesn't. He's just a regular
Yeah.
he's just a regular dude. Like almost like not only did they take out his like metal arm thing, they cut out like I say maybe 60% of the Tyrese shots that were in the trailer.
Why?
Like we see Tyrese maybe 5 times in the movie.
Really?
Yeah. And it's it's not a meaningful 5 times either.
Okay.
Like they play detectives
Mm-hmm.
who are like basically trying to figure out what's going on, but they're so like weirdly nonchalant about everything. Like Morbius practically transforms his face into like his vampire face right
Yeah.
in front of them in the interrogation room, and they're just kind of like, "Oh, what was that?"
Right.
All right, this interrogation's over, and they get up and leave. And I'm just like, bro, this nigga's just his face changed. Like, what?
Like, he just
His
turned
face
into a whole
changed.
vampire.
Yeah, his
He was
face
just-
changed into a bat and then changed back, and you're just like, oh, that was creepy.
Oh.
Like,
Oh, that was-
nigga, yeah, like scream or something. Like,
Right?
do something. Like,
That
that's
was
not normal.
unexpected.
Yeah, that was unexpected. Like, do something. Like, shoot him. Do something. Like, do something a normal person would do. Like, shoot him. Maybe get up and leave faster.
Mm-hmm.
They just like picked their files up and was like, well, that was weird, and just like walked out. I was like, what is he on? And then there's this whole thing of him having to drink blood, of course, but he has like these blood bags because he works in a hospital, of course.
Yeah.
But he never finishes a bag. Like the whole thing is about him like having to go only a certain amount of time before he has to drink more blood. But he never finishes the whole bag
Okay.
of blood. He'll like put it up and like squeeze it and take like a couple chugs, and then he'll just toss it on the ground like the Hulk or something like that. But they're like half the bag will be left.
Right.
And they're just like, bro, like you could probably go for a little longer if you finish the fucking bag.
Now there's a bunch of blood on the floor. Who's going to clean that up?
Exactly. It's like you could have drank that. And
Like,
they were
don't you
like,
need that to survive?
exactly. Like you should be savoring every single drop of that if you don't want to drink it as much.
Yeah.
Like just drink the whole thing now, and then you won't have to
Mm-hmm.
get another one in 5 hours or whatever. But it was just weird. And then like Jared Leto's not a. Is Jared Leto a bad actor? No, Jared Leto's not a
I wouldn't
bad
call him
actor.
a bad. I wouldn't call him a bad actor.
He's not a bad actor, but he definitely has like one voice, like one character, if that makes sense. Like he always has like this soft spoken, like kind of meek and frail, like way about him. When he won his Oscar in Dallas Buyers Club, he was dying of AIDS, so you know,
Mm-hmm.
he was a weak, kind of quiet, soft spoken character. In this movie, in Morbius, He's the same way even after he's not dying anymore. Like even after he gets his vampire powers and he's all buff or whatever, he still talks like he's trying not to get on people's nerves.
Yeah.
Even when he's trying to be intimidating, he's like, "Hey, how are you?" Like, I'm Michael Morbius. Nice
It's
to meet
Dr.
you.
Michael Morbius.
Yeah. It's like, speak the fuck up. Like you're the main character. Like you're a fucking vampire. Like I honestly ended up kind of liking the villain more than I liked Morbius. It was weird. And then, well, yeah, like Suicide Squad.
Oh, when he played the Joker.
Yeah, that just wasn't good.
Yeah.
Like
no.
And that was one of the few times that he kind of like stepped out of that role where he had to be like a more confident or brash and like loud or whatever type of character as the Joker. But he played it weird. He was like a rapper mob boss Joker, and it was like, what the fuck is this? Like, why is the Joker beefing with Common? Like, I don't understand this. It was just not right. And then they kind of brought him back, because I don't know if you saw. Did you see the Snyder cut of Justice League?
Yeah, I did.
I was like, this nigga's still the Joker. I was like, why? I was like, they must have shot this before. Like it was decided that he wasn't gonna be the Joker anymore. Or even I don't even know if it is decided. Actually, I don't know what the fuck DC is doing.
I lost track of what they're
DC doing.
I lost track. After the Snyder cut, I was like,
I don't know what DC is doing. I don't know what Sony is doing. Because if you saw Morbius, like anybody who's watching this, the ending of Morbius was weird. Like it just didn't make sense. Because you know how Venom and Spider-Man are still owned by Sony.
Right, yeah.
Morbius is also owned by Sony.
Okay.
But now Sony and Marvel are working together a little bit more. So like Spider-Man is in like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's still like technically a Sony product. And now with Venom, they did the whole thing with like the multiverse, where Tom Hardy and Venom came over to the Tom Holland Spider-Man universe.
Yep.
But they didn't do anything. They just went back.
They just stayed in that hotel the entire time.
Yeah, but they left a little bit of the symbiote.
Oh yeah.
They left a little bit of the symbiote in the Tom Holland universe. So that's a hint, I guess, that Venom will still be in the Tom Holland universe. I guess Tom Hardy just won't be playing him. Like it'll be
somebody else.
It'll be a different Eddie Brock, maybe.
I was about to say, yeah, maybe a different Eddie. Maybe it'll be just like Spider-Man 3. Like maybe he'll get his like black suit or something.
Right. So there's that. But in Morbius, they tried to do something similar with the multiverse thing. But they did it really weird. Because if you remember, in No Way Home in Spider-Man, the whole point of the spell being messed up was that it brought in everyone who knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Yep.
From different universes. Which was why Venom got there, because Eddie Brock didn't know, but Venom knows.
Yeah.
Because of the hive mind thing. With Morbius, and then obviously when Doctor Strange reversed the spell, he went back. Eddie and Venom went back to their universe. With Morbius, at the end, what is his name? I can't remember the character's, like the actual person's name, but Michael Keaton's character, Vulture.
Okay.
It's implied that at the same time that Doctor Strange is sending everyone back to their universes at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, somehow Vulture, who was in Tom Holland's universe, remember, he was the first villain, the first Spider-Man villain with Tom Holland.
Yep.
He gets sent to Morbius's universe, which doesn't make sense because he's not from there. Right.
He's originally from Tom Holland's universe.
Right. So he technically shouldn't have gone anywhere. Like, he shouldn't have been moved. He should have just he was already where he was supposed to be.
Yeah. There's no somewhere to return to. That was his original. That was his original universe.
Right. So for whatever reason, in Doctor Strange's spell to send everyone back to their original universe, Vulture gets moved to a different one.
Why though?
So I don't know. They don't explain it. They don't explain it. It's the after credit scene of
Oh shit.
Morbius. So they don't explain it. But what's interesting is because Vulture was in prison in Tom Holland's universe, when he gets sent to Morbius's universe, he just pops up in the same prison
Right.
in New York. But he's not supposed to be there. So they let him out. They're like, you're not on this file. Like he's just in a cell in a full prison uniform, shackled up. And they're just like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, there's no record of this guy being here, being arrested, like anything. So they're just like, well, let him go. So he just goes out. And somehow somehow they do it weird with this after credit scene. There's like a time skip in the after credit scene because it fast forward to like a couple, I guess, days or weeks later.
Okay.
And Vulture has his suit back and his wings and everything. But remember, he made it with Stark technology.
Yeah.
In Spider-Man. Because he was the, like taking scraps from the battles from New York and, all that and making weapons. He has his suit back and he goes to meet Morbius and he's like, I don't know how I got here, but I got a feeling it's Spider-Man's fault. Let's team up.
What?
So that's how it ends with Morbius meeting Vulture. And they meet at like the outskirts of the city on some like random like road in the middle of the night. There's no explanation as to why Morbius would even want to meet Vulture. How Vulture knows about Morbius. Well, I guess a lot of people know by the end of the movie, but because he's kind of like Venom now. Like I think they're trying to set up the Sinister Six, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, Sinister Six.
With Vulture, Morbius, and I think Venom. And I guess they're gonna get some more. I don't know, but I guess not the villains from from Spider-Man,
right? Not
because
not
they've
Doc
just
Ock,
they've been cured.
Right, they've been cured.
So I don't know if they're gonna pop up in the Morbius universe or like other alternate versions of them or what.
Maybe.
But yeah, I was just like, this doesn't make any sense.
Or
from
maybe
a continuity perspective.
Maybe the Green Goblin from the Amazing Spider-Man. Maybe he'll probably be part of the Sinister Six too. I just thought about that.
Maybe, because a lot of people were speculating that they're going to do an Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
But even then, it would have to connect. That would suggest that there's already a Spider-Man in the Morbius universe. Which, if that's the case, Venom should have known about that already. So it's like it's kind of weird. And obviously time is an issue as well because it's not all happening at the same time, which is why Tobey's Spider-Man is so much older than Tom's.
Yeah.
So, this could be a universe where Spider-Man doesn't exist anymore or doesn't exist yet in the Morbius,
Maybe.
In the Morbius universe.
Yeah.
There might just not be a Spider-Man. Maybe it'll be the Miles Morales Spider-Man. Like, who knows? But yeah, it was odd the way that they chose to do that, because it was like you're kind of stepping on your own toes a little bit here.
Yeah.
Because you just taken a character from one franchise and put him in this one without explaining why.
Without any explanation.
Yeah. In a way that really just doesn't make sense.
Makes sense, right?
But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they'll figure it out. I have a little bit more faith in Sony these days. Yeah. Purely because of the affiliation with Marvel.
Yeah.
Or like the collaborations, I guess, with Marvel. Speaking of which, have you watched Miss Marvel?
Not yet.
Okay. I watched a little bit of it. Well, I watched what's out so far. I also watched all of Moon Knight.
I did too. Good show.
Yeah, I like Moon Knight. Some people didn't like it they thought it was kind of slow. They didn't like how he would like black out when the action scenes came. It didn't really bother me that
It didn't
much.
bother me either.
I felt like there was enough action that I didn't need to actually see him
Yeah.
like fighting, and we saw him fighting too. Like
Yeah.
I felt like there was enough going on to keep me interested. It didn't have to be like hand to hand, a whole bunch of hand to hand combat scenes. Um, but I liked it. But Miss Marvel is interesting because it's from what I've seen, the story's pretty good. But from what I've seen, it's definitely one of Marvel's lower budget projects.
Mm.
Effects aren't that great. Acting pretty okay. Lot of lesser known actors or just unknown actors. Some people getting like their first big role.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Moon Knight where you got, Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke and you know what I mean, like bigger name actors, or Hawkeye where you got, bigger name actors. It's a lot of newcomers. Um, FX not so great, like I said. They've also it's interesting because obviously this theme for what are we in now? Phase 5, I think.
Phase
So
5.
the theme for Phase 5 is definitely like the multiverse.
Yeah.
So Miss Marvel is still playing into that. The main villains are from a different dimension.
Mm.
So it's still on theme with that. So it makes sense that it came out now. But from what I can tell, they've changed quite a bit from the original Miss Marvel storyline. Which I didn't read Miss Marvel, so I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But I think the fact that they did it to make it, I guess, fit more into the theme of what they're doing in Phase 5 is fine with me. I feel like Miss Marvel's not that well known of a character for it to really affect a whole lot of people or for a whole lot of people to care.
Yeah.
So,
she's only ever seen in the comics.
Yeah.
Which
so
not a lot of people read.
Right. So it's like, it is what it is. Same thing with WandaVision with Monica, or was it Maria? Which one is the daughter? I think Maria. Rambo.
Yeah, her.
Who's like the Black Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
In the comics, it was originally her mom, but then in Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness, they made her mom Captain Marvel. So it was like, it was interesting, but with the multiverse thing, it's kind of like a cheat code because you can change things, but then say like, oh yeah, that's a different universe.
Yeah.
Like that thing that happened in the comics, yeah, that wasn't this universe.
Yeah.
So
like with Captain Carter.
Right. Like you can change things without saying like we're deviating from the source material. You can literally just say like, nope, it's the MCU. It's a different universe.
Yeah.
So, and another thing too that people thought was interesting was, and this is kind of like a mind fuck a little bit, but in Doctor Strange, we see Reed Richards. So Reed Richards, his in his scene where he talks to Wanda and she asks him like, do you have kids? And he says, yeah, I have a wife and a son. What's interesting is that would suggest that this is the universe where him and Sue get married and they have a son. And in Reed Richards, because when we saw the Fantastic Four movies, they hadn't gotten that far.
No.
What's interesting is that Reed Richards is obviously he's one of the smartest people in the world. He's one of the geniuses of Marvel. Reed Richards' descendants, like his, I think, great grandkids or great grandkid, is Nathaniel Richards, who is He Who Remains.
Yeah.
So, one thing that people were kind of talking about was the whole issue of like the timelines and the sacred timeline in Loki, and Nathaniel Richards being He Who Remains, and they're like, how is it possible that he even exists if
Yeah.
this universe doesn't even have a Reed Richards, as far as we know. Uh, so the fact that Reed is in another universe and he's already had a kid means that it's putting into motion the creation of Nathaniel Richards,
Yeah.
which also puts into motion the creation of Kang the Conqueror,
Mm-hmm.
which we see at the end of Loki. So it's interesting how they've created this loop, like this time loop, and now because of what happened in Loki with the TVA, which exists outside of the regular timeline,
Right.
we're already starting to see like some of the chaos, because the whole point of what He Who Remains was doing was he was trying to prevent the creation of more of himself.
Yeah.
He was trying to literally keep himself from being born
Born. Mm-hmm.
in any universe.
Any universe. Yeah.
So the fact that in Doctor Strange goes to a universe where Reed Richards is married and has a kid, that means it's already
And
we're
set in
seeing
stone.
we're seeing the genesis of the creation of Kang the Conqueror, which will eventually tie all the way back into the next season of Loki.
Yeah.
Because with the whole like multiverse and the different dimensions and timelines and everything like that, I think that's going to tie into Thor, which is
Love
coming
and
out
Thunder.
soon.
Yeah.
Because I think they're going to start to dive into the pantheons, like the different pantheons, the different gods,
Yep.
and all of their different dimensions. Because remember, the Egyptian Ennead gods, Khonshu and all them, they have their own dimension where they live.
Yep.
Thor and the Asgardians, they have their own play. They have Asgard.
Yep.
In Thor: Love and Thunder, the trailer, we see that he's gonna go and see Zeus and the Greek gods. They, I'm sure, have their own dimension. So now with Gore the God Butcher running around killing gods, with Kang the Conqueror going, into different universes and taking over,
Mm-hmm.
with what we saw with America Chavez and Wanda in Doctor Strange, and everything that happened with him,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like it's leading up to some type of multi-dimensional or multiversal war, which was in a comic. I can't remember which one, but I think that's what's going to be the big, like the Thanos of Phase 5, or the next couple phases, because phases 1 through 3 were building up to Phase 4, which was all about Thanos.
Yep.
So I think 5 through 7 will be all about building up to eventually fighting the Celestials.
Ooh.
Because that's also Eternals, setting that up.
Yep. At the end, with Thanos' brother.
Yeah. And, what's his name? Arishem saying like he's gonna come back and judge Earth to see if it's worthy of remaining a planet and not being destroyed. So I think that's what it's kind of building up to, is like a war, a multiversal, multi-dimensional war with the Celestials, which would be crazy. By the way, Ego is a Celestial, which some people know, some people don't know, but Peter Quill's dad, Star-Lord's dad, was a Celestial. Ego was a living planet. He was a Celestial, which I didn't realize until way after I had already seen the movie.
Yep.
But I thought that was crazy. But that was part of why. I mean, obviously we knew that Peter was special, but
since he was resistant to the Power Stone.
Yeah. Like he was able to use it, just holding it in his bare hands without dying.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously everyone knew Peter was special, but he's actually half Celestial.
Well, not anymore, since he rejected his dad and his powers.
Yeah. Well, no, I think he still is.
He's still a Celestial, but after he like beat Ego,
I think what was happening was Ego was trying to use Peter to expand.
Oh, okay.
Like as a he because what happened was Ego was using he was going to different planets and just having kids,
Kids. Yep.
and none of them survived, and he would like kill off the women who he had the kids with because most regular people just couldn't handle the energy of being that close or being with a celestial in that
Mm-hmm.
way. And his mom could, and
Yeah.
then he had Peter, and Peter survived, and Ego basically killed his mom
Yeah.
and had the Ravengers. He paid the Ravengers, Yandu, to go pick up Peter, and they just never brought him to him. So I think his whole plan was to use Peter as a means of growing and expanding his own powers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Peter still has the latent like power within him. He can't activate it like Ego can.
Okay.
It's just like in him. Like if he
Mm-hmm.
was to touch another, if he was to try and use another Infinity Stone, he probably could. But like without dying, he probably could. But I don't think he can just because Ego's whole thing was it was like he was pure energy.
Mm-hmm.
So like he could manipulate other energies. He could make copies of himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like he could grow plants, like all that kind of stuff. So Peter's powers aren't really like super useful, I guess, under most circumstances. Ego's powers weren't even like super useful, other than being able to make like cool shit
Mm-hmm.
on his own planet, and
Planet on his own planet.
like some cool shit on other planets. But even then, he had to go there, like plant the seed, and then he was just like connected to that planet
Yeah.
forever. But even then, he needed Peter to help amplify his power
Mm-hmm.
so he could actually do stuff on other planets without having to go there. But
Okay.
I think Peter still has some of the power in there. And speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, they cast Adam Warlock. Will Poulter
Oh yeah.
is playing Adam Warlock.
I was wondering.
I don't know what movie he's gonna show up in though.
Is there going to be a volume 3 of Guardians?
There is. I don't know, but you know how sometimes they'll just throw him in an after credit scene.
Yeah, when he
So like,
awakens. I think
so
he was in like that little chamber he was in. I don't think he.
yeah, at the end of Guardians 2,
Yeah.
which was weird. Also Marvel deviating from the comics because Adam Warlock was actually the one who beat Thanos
Yeah,
in
he
the
was.
original comic books.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I was fine with the way it turned out. Obviously, losing Robert was kind of a hurt piece.
Yeah.
Losing Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
But they've also found the replacement Iron Man.
Oh, I've heard.
Yeah. So like, I think that's going to be the second what is it? Black Panther movie. They're gonna show the new Iron Man, well Iron Woman, I guess, because it's the girl, the black girl.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
she's gonna be the new Iron Man, and I think they're debuting her in Black Panther 2
Oh shit.
because they showed some behind the scenes like set photos and stuff of Shuri and Okoye. Was it Okoye or was I forget Lupita's character's name? But they were at MIT,
Mm-hmm.
which is Tony Stark's alma mater, and he donated a bunch of money, and
Yeah.
they have the Tony Stark like scholarship program or whatever, and they showed that Shuri and Okoye were at MIT, and they were talking with another like young black girl who had a like an Iron Man T-shirt on, or like a shirt with like the Iron Man colors, like the red and yellow, red and
Mm-hmm.
gold, and like holding a bag like with some stuff in it
Hmm.
that she was like trying to hide or whatever. So a lot of people think that might be, I think her name is Ironheart.
Ironheart.
Yeah, in the comics. So a lot of people speculate that might be what's happening. That they might be trying to recruit her. Because
Mm-hmm.
Shuri's a genius as well.
Yeah.
So she's gonna make some special additions to that suit, I'm sure. But yeah, I can't wait.
Me
And
neither.
I'm glad they're coming out faster. And I'm glad they got the Disney Plus thing with the shows too. Now everybody doesn't have to get their own movie.
Yeah.
Like we can get a show and then get a movie, then get another show. It's just there's always something.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that. Do you have any other final points?
No, I think that's about it. Do you have any final points?
I don't have any final points. I do have some things that I want to let people know though. So, first off, due to some behind the scenes business stuff, some paperwork, some acquisitions and mergers and business talk and random stuff that you probably don't care about. The Lowlights Network has merged with Black Flag Entertainment, which is a company that I previously started. And if you want to check out more content, this podcast content, also some new content that's going to be coming from Tyrese. He's got a crazy story he wants to tell everybody about the time that you got, what was it, sexually assaulted at Sesame Street? Or something like that.
By count.
Yeah.
Count.
Yeah. Something along those lines. You can head over to the website. It's blackflagent.online, BLACKFLAGENT.ONLINE, because I can spell. Ha. Take that, Miss Johnson in third grade. Anywho, you can head over to the website to see more content that's going to be coming soon. Also, check out the store. There's merch in there for pretty much everybody. There's some sweatpants and t-shirts and mugs and hats and all kinds of cool stuff that you can check out. There's also going to be new merch coming soon after Marquise finishes designing it. Hopefully it's not shitty. It probably won't be.
It won't be, knowing him.
Yeah. He's pretty good at that kind of stuff. So yeah, also make sure you sign up for the membership. And what else? Was there anything else? I think that might have been it. Oh, and follow us on our social medias. Instagram, Twitter. I think we have a TikTok still.
Yeah.
Marquise also does that kind of stuff. I don't know how to use TikTok. I am the only person involved in all this that is not Gen Z. So y'all got that. But anyway, we will see you next week. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time. Peace.